Well, still to come here at Ipswich, we've got the Hot Rod Championship of the World. But first, let's turn to cars which are well known for their elegance, sophistication and class. The Jaguars. We can forget all about that reputation because this now is a Jaguar Banger race.
Well, the pace car then coming off the final turn now. Over the line, and they're on their way. And 170 is already in very considerable trouble. Bang, straight into the safety fence. Les Battenberg Coleman from Hillingdon in Middlesex goes into the fence as the rest disappear into the dust. And inevitably, there has to be a little period of settling down. The surface dust has to be cleared. And you can see there's a chicane there already formed by these cars. I was trying to do a bit of mental arithmetic to work out the brand new value of all these cars. And, well, it runs into a great deal of cash. So we've got 129 is the leader, Mick Conlon. Number 8 is in second place. If you can see him come flashing through, that's Rebel Rod Lunnis from Kings Lynn. But there's Mick Conlon in a still fairly immaculate-looking car. A bit of a procession there as somebody's got steering troubles at the front there. That's the 91 motor that's looking a little sick. Jimmy Moyse from Liphook. There really is considerable congestion, and we've got a red flag, in fact, out on the circuit now. There is a considerable pile-up on that bend. It would appear that someone is trapped. And the red flag is now out, and that means the race will be stopped to allow the safety marshals to get onto the track to see if they can indeed extricate the driver. The cars are fairly strong. It's in fact 353. It's Bill Aldridge is the driver. And in a moment or two, we'll see if we can get some information as to the nature of the problem. Well, it looks as if they've got him out. Looks a little shaken. Sometimes the door comes in, or maybe the bottom of the door pillar comes in and traps an ankle or something like that. Is probably one of the most common injuries. Does seem to be limping a little bit. Maybe that indeed is what happened, but he certainly doesn't seem to be in too bad a shape. Nothing more than banger drivers have come to expect in this rather rough and tough sort of sport. But there we are. He'll make his way away. They'll make some attempt, I think, briefly to clear the track, and then we shall be ready to resume. Staff done a good job, as you can see there, clearing that bend. A lot of oil and petrol and water on the track, which is making it a little slippery there for Mr. Bump in 267. Sean Lydiard. Of course, the one thing about a stopped race, it does tend to mess up the positions somewhat, because the field, of course, tends to close up. However, back to the action. Back to some extent, I'm afraid, to some of the dust. 326 Barry Picton there. Still got plenty of room at the moment. 74, Chris Colliver, trying to get himself reorientated. There's the world champion, Graham Lashley, 225, just gone out of the picture there. Well, that's one way to try and stop the opposition. Doesn't always work, because you're liable to bounce off and finish up in the fence like that. There we are, there's the world champion. 87, in fact, former world champion Nick Linfield is the leader. 157 is second, and 323 is third. 87, 157, and 323. If you get a glimpse of those, they're the ones that are leading the restart of this one. There's 129, the earlier leader. In fact, Mick Conlon disposing of one of the slower back marker cars. That's the gun who's in the lead. Nick Linfield, number 87, knows his way around, former champion of the world, rather robust style of driving, always very prepared to get stuck in. Relatively little damage to the car so far, but that's part of the skill of the thing. If you can dispose of some of the opposition without getting your own motor too badly bent, well, that's the name of the game. 340 doing a beautiful pirouette to try and get back in again, Trevor Randall. We're on 10 laps of the 15 gone, 5 more to go. That's the third place car. That's car number 157, Jeff Priestley. This is the man who's got to catch, though. 86 87, Nick Linfield. Linfield now got about 30 yards on 323, and in turn he's got about 30 yards on 157. So really there's still plenty of scope. There's 87, and there's the second place man with the black and yellow stripes. And in fact 323 is closing the gap. 323 indeed is closing the gap quite comfortably at the moment. Is definitely getting smaller. 157 is a little way back now. In fact, he's dropped right back. Well, he's about 100 yards behind now, with 129 Mick Hunt back in fourth place. But that is still the leader. The laps are ticking away. We've got 2 more to go. And it's still 87 from this man, Jeff Roberts, in 323. Jags holding up quite well, although I should think we've probably lost at least 3/4 of the runners. We must have lost 3/4 of the field now, either battered into submission or retired out on the centre grid. The world champion, Graham Lashley, in 225, he's quite a long way back at the moment. In fact, he's in 5th or 6th position, I think. So inside the final lap now, it's Nick Linfield looking all set now, coming around the final turn, 323. Jeff Roberts won't catch him now, he's about 40 yards behind. Here he comes, checkered flag is at the ready, over the line he goes. Nick Linfield is the winner, 323. Graham Roberts is second, and I think Graham Lashley just manages to sneak up, probably to take the 3rd place. But that's the man who's come out top of the heap, literally, relatively undamaged.